So today we're going to be talking about using the Samsung in-app SDK, in-app purchase in the games. So I'm going to get a little bit of an intro to the in-app purchase SDK in general. So that is going to be not just specific for Unity, but the last part you're going to see that we're going to focus on Unity games. But let's start with me. So I'll try to introduce myself. So my name is Diego. I'm a senior developer evangelist with Samsung Electronics of America, and I've been connecting with different developers already for several years and trying to build developer communities, specifically around consumer software and in general, just software that interests the different developer communities. And now with Samsung, um, it's my pleasure and opportunity to show you some of the Samsung technologies. And like I said, today we are going to be talking about the in-app purchase SDK. So this is the agenda. It doesn't have to follow exactly these steps, but at least it gives us the chance to have something to aim for. And we're going to check really quick what is the Samsung Galaxy Store in case you don't know about it. Then we're going to check an overview of the app purchase SDK and where do you find it, how do you download it, how do you work with it, some general topics that we are going to check there, and then how to use the in-app SDK in your Unity game. By the end of this webinar, the entire idea is that you should be able to know where to download the SDK, how to integrate it in Unity, and how to start working with your games and having the SDK integrated. So let's start with the Galaxy Store. And so the Galaxy Store pretty much is Samsung's App Store. So it comes in all the mobile devices that you can purchase from Samsung, and it has a great reach, a global reach. So you can see more than 800 countries, 180 countries, 100 around the world, and it has more than 400 million users that are monthly checking the store, downloading apps, and are active in general. And in general, for you as a developer, the important thing I think is that it's another way to upload your games, to reach a new audience, and well, not just games, but also watch apps, watch faces, themes. But today, obviously, we're going to be talking more about games, so that's the part that is more important for you. So you can open an account pretty much for free, and if you're interested, you can start checking it today. Some of the other advantages that you have with the Galaxy Store is that besides being a curated store and that is aiming to get a lot of quality in the games and apps that are being uploaded, is that you also have the chance to create exclusive deals and give special prices and discounts and integrating with Samsung technologies and Samsung deals that you have. And specifically this one for the Samsung Rewards. This is for the players, so they are incentivized to go to the store and to play more and download more games. So that's something that you can take into account whenever you create a game for the Galaxy Store. Now, so like I mentioned, this part was going to be really short about the Galaxy Store. I recommend you to go to developer.samsung.com. This is something that when I publish the video on YouTube, you're going to see the link in the description of the video. So you can go there, but if not, well, just look for developer.samsung.com. It's quite simple. And you're going to find all the information about the Galaxy Store, about the Samsung in-app purchase SDK, and a lot of other information about smart watches, about mobile development, about games, and in general, like pretty much that's the best way for you to start working with Samsung technologies. So I recommend that you go there and start checking the Galaxy Store as another venue for you to continue. Now, on the Samsung in-app purchase. So pretty much the in-app purchase is the way that Samsung is giving you to monetize your games. So if you have any virtual goods, well, games and apps in general, if you have any virtual goods or subscriptions, you don't really have to focus on that part of your game or application. You can just focus on what your game is really doing, that is creating this experience, this entertainment that you are offering your players. And then you can use the Galaxy Store to distribute games and also to manage everything that has to do with the in-app purchase. So if you're going to do that by yourself, quite likely you're going to easily figure out that there are a lot of things that you have to deal with. Oh, sorry. And specifically, you have to deal with payments, payment methods that could change from country to country, and also like security in general, because we're talking about money, and that's something whenever you talk about money, someone is going to try to hack to get access to it and steal your money. So you could do it yourself, of course, but the Samsung in-app purchase SDK gives you the chance to use the existing infrastructure that we have with the Samsung Galaxy Store and reach more than 120 countries around the world. You can see like a general idea with the map. And with that, you're going to be able to also reach all the players, the users that already have access to the Samsung Galaxy Store and immediately start selling or subscriptions or virtual goods. Well, here, that's kind of like the intro. Right now, the Galaxy Store, well, the in-app purchase actually, the SDK, we offer support for Android, for Unity, and Unreal plugins. So of course, today we're going to focus on the Unity one, but you can go directly to the link that I'm putting there, developer.samsung.com. That's the page for the developer program that I mentioned before. And just go /IAP in-app purchase at the bottom of the slide. And you're going to get all the information that you need about the SDK and the documentation that you may need to understand how the in-app purchase works. So I would recommend to go and check it. Now, let's suppose that you have a game, which is my big assumption since you decided to join the this particular webinar. I'm assuming that you have or you have already created a game or are in the process of creating it. So how do you go about and publish your game, including the in-app purchase SDK? How do you do that? So these are the main steps. So we're going to check them a little bit in detail, and we are going to kind of like do this part before we get into the Unity like section of the webinar. So the first one is to go to the seller portal and registrate. So we're going to check that in a second. So then you are supposed to request a commercial status. After that, you pretty much register your application and the items that you're going to sell in your application. So in this game, your game. And finally, you submit that game and it starts the certification process. So let's start and after that, it's published and pretty much anyone is going to be able to start playing your game and start buying items or, well, in general, having in-app purchases. Let's check some of the details. So first, the seller portal registration. So if you go to seller.samsungapps.com, so the link that you have there, you're going to be able to sign up. So you are going to be able to, well, if you have an account, you can sign in, then you can sign up now. So if you are going to do it right after this webinar, you immediately can start creating a personal account pretty much, and you can do it for free. So like a free account, and immediately you can start publishing games right away. So we're not going to charge you anything, and you can start publishing games, free games. Now, if you are going to start using the in-app purchase SDK, then you're going to have a little bit of a problem, or not a problem, but something additional that you have to do. That is to ask for a seller account. So let me jump to this page. Let's see if I have it open. I think I time out. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is an account that I created, I think, last year, pretty much for demo purposes, and I left it at this point just to be able to show you this. So this is the point that you should do request the commercial seller status. So it gives you the link directly that you may need for the guide on all the steps that you need to do this, or you just directly go and start asking you for some information. So why is this additional step needed for the in-app purchase or for paid games in general? Pretty much it has to do with money again. So depending on the country where you are, and also depending on the countries where you're going to publish your games, you have to deal with things like taxes and, well, identity, and we need to know that you are who you say that you are. So then you're going to get some information here, like the copy of a passport or ID card that is going to be asked from you. So we know that you are who you say you are. Okay, so this is one of the things that you need to do. Our recommendation is that the moment that you create your account, immediately, if you're interested in dealing with paid games, immediately request the seller account, because this still takes a few days since it's done manually. We need to confirm that your bank account, that your passport or ID card, they are, well, pretty much real, and then we can approve your account. So this is one of these steps that if you're interested, just go ahead. It's going to take some time, and then you're going to receive notification that your account has been already approved. Okay, so now we go back to my presentation. Now, app registration. When you are going to submit your game, that let's say that I'm going to add a new app. You're going to be given these options if you're going to get an Android game or app or a Galaxy Watch. So in this case, we're going to do this. And I'm not going to go through all the steps. Why? Because like over a week ago, we had already a full video where we explain in detail all the steps there. So it's not incredibly well. The video itself apparently is kind of like 46 minutes, but I don't want to spend all the time today doing that part. We already have the video. You can go or look for Samsung developers on YouTube, and then you can get to our channel. And this is one of the latest videos that was published. And well, pretty much we go in all the detail of how you have to register your app. But that's the first step that you have to do when you already have your game. And then, as you may imagine, in other stores, you're going to fill some information, the title, description, icons, screenshots, etc. And well, you have several steps that you're going to go through. So, and this one binary, this is where you upload your APK that is generated in this case in Unity, which is also something that we covered in that video that I was mentioning. We show how to do it. So if you haven't done it before, we are going to, in that video, you can check how we did it, really simple. And then we go in the video game, like through all the details of like some of the things that you have to fill here. Now, the part of the in-app purchase, this is going to be blocked for me because this account is not a seller's account. So that's why to get to this point, you have to request your seller account. So that's why I recommended to do it in almost from the get-go. Finally, if you had this part, we're going to check in a second how do you do this. You should be able to submit your game or application, and then it starts on the review. That this is the point where like our certification team is going to check your game. In this particular case, since we're talking about in-app purchases, that everything looks good, and then they're going to send back errors if they find any, or they're going to say sure, is ready to go, and then you can start promoting your application everywhere. So here I'm just going to show you a little bit of the steps that we need to follow to um, pretty much set up the registration for the different items that you're going to sell. So the first thing that I would like to mention here is that um, you can sell specific items so that it can be consumed. So in one game, it could be, for example, gold or gems or something like that, or like a gun that you're going to use to destroy an enemy or a boss in your game. That's fine. Or depending on your game, you can also have subscriptions. That it could be a subscription, that it could be a one-time subscription. It could be something that you decide to charge monthly, annually, every 6 months. So those are things that you can do, and depending on the game that you are creating, it makes more sense to have one type of in-app purchase items or not. Now, the second thing that you can do here in the seller portal is that you can create the items that you're going to sell manually. So like manually, one by one, individually. That's the word that I was looking for, individually. Or you can do item bulk upload. So this is particularly useful for games if you have like 300 items, 300 different things that you want to sell in the store. It would be a total pain to do it one by one. So then you can just upload a bunch of them, and then you don't have to worry much more after that. So it's quite useful. And again, depending on the type of game that you are creating, it makes more sense to do it one time or another. Quite likely, the first time you're just going to do it manually, individually, item by item. And this is what you're going to see when you do it like that. It's going to ask, of course, an item ID. This would make sense that you have something that you can easily recognize on your list of items. So it could be just a number, or it could be something like level 1 uh, uh, bonus, or level 33 boss monster killer, or something like that. And well, you can put the title. This is how usually the string that usually you would display inside of your game, and then you would get into the different types that it, like is mentioned before, it could be an item or it could be a subscription, and the description that you can put there. So all these things really are made for you for to help you when you are programming inside of the game. Then you don't have to rethink this, but I guess you could hard code it inside of your game. It's just that it would be much easier for you to make modifications inside of the store instead of like modifying the game. You could go directly to the store and say like, hey, now this description change. Let's say that you had a typo, you could just go and change it here, instead of like modifying the game every single time that you want to do it. And then you can set the price. And you can do the standard price that is pretty much for North America, but then you can set also the price that changes country by country. Again, depending on the audience that you are trying to reach, it makes more sense just to set the, well, you at least need to set the standard price. But if you want to modify how much it's going to cost in different countries, well, you can go ahead and do it. Now, whenever you are creating this, you have to make certain that when you submit, that the item that you added appears directly in the list. That's how you know that it is. And also here in the list of in-app purchase items, you can always get the item registration guide, so you can check it in case that you're interested. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of like the process that I was telling you about the review. After that, you should be able to go to the review, add any specific messages that you want to send to the certification team, and immediately you could submit it to the store. I think at some point I read in the documentation to not submit in this page, just to go ahead and finish all the steps and go to the review. But well, I mean, I'm assuming that you should get like some sort of error if you submit it here and things do not work. But well, it's recommended that you just go through all the steps in the same order that we're showing here, and before you submit your game. Okay, and now specifically for Unity. So first, where you're going to download the SDK. So I'm giving you here. So if you want to take a screenshot, or this is specifically for the video, this is going to be the link where you're going to go ahead and download the SDK, the plugin for the in-app purchase SDK. Then you have to install the plugin, drag and drop in one of your game objects, and pretty much you're ready to go. So I'm going to jump from the presentation, show you where you find this plugin, and then we're going to go to Unity and pretty much do like these steps, installing the plugin and setting it on a game object. And you're going to see that I didn't put any other slide here because it was a really easy process. I'm quite happy that the engineering team kind of like took the time to make it really easy for developers. So we're going to check it out. So first, let's go to the portal. So this is the portal that I was mentioning before, developer.samsung.com. So you can go directly, if I'm not mistaken, and say IAP. And this is the page where you're going to find it, but I'm going to go back for a second and I'm going to repeat the process. How do you find it? Because here in the portal, like I mentioned, you have a lot of things that you can find, like for the Galaxy Watch, mobile in general, Tyson, game development. So a lot of things. And here also in distribute, that's where you get directly a link to the store. Although, well, you see it here that I was already showing it. But you find a lot of information here. So if you don't want to go directly to the developer.samsung.com/IAP, you just go for build. You're going to build a new game. This game is for mobile. And down here, you see some of the options that you have. So something for the S Pen, the Galaxy Z, the one of the flip phones. And then here you're going to find the Samsung IAP. So if you don't remember the URL, just try to remember the developer.samsung.com, and you should be able to find it there under the build mobile, and then you check there. And of course, you're going to have here a little bit of general documentation and assets and resources that you can use to understand how the entire process works, and you can get the documentation in general. But specifically, the one that we want to check is software development kit, the SDK. This is the one that the first one is the one for Android, and of course you can see Unity plugin, Unreal plugin. So let's go to the Unity plugin. And pretty much the first thing that you find here is directly the latest version that you can download. So you just click download, and it's quite a small thing, so there's not much of a problem there. So I think the only thing that is going to ask you is if you have already a Samsung account. So I think this morning that I was installing everything in this computer that is kind of new, it was asking me like, hey, do you have a Samsung account to download this? And well, I just logged in and then I was ready to go. Now, the thing that I want to go to do is go to Unity. So I have a sample game here, nothing really complicated. It's one of the samples that you can get directly on the Unity page. And then what do we do? If you downloaded your the plugin, then you just have to go to Assets, Import Package, case custom package, and then you should be able to find whatever you downloaded. In this case, downloads for me. You should be able to find the Samsung IAP Unity plugin, whatever version you downloaded. So open. I'm going to take a second to check what's there. And then you should be able to see this is the one, the Samsung IAP CS. This is the script that we're more interested in. We're going to find it. So say import. Hope it works. I think earlier I imported it and then deleted it to be able to show you guys how to do it. I hope it doesn't break or anything. Of course, I had to open my mouse. Okay, there. There it is. I'm glad. So then in your assets, you should be able to go to the plugins folder, and there's a new one that was created that is the script. And that's where you should be able to find your script. I think earlier during the day I opened it on Visual Studio, so you can check how it goes. And this is the kind of thing that you can check on the documentation, specifically how all these methods work and when to call them. But we're going to check a little bit of that in a couple of seconds. Now, since you already have the script, what is it that you need to do? The last step before you are ready to count the code. Then you have to find a game item. That it could be something on your UI, could be a button, could be a boss or whatever. So since I kind of like the idea of adding here, and I know that is down here. So have directly your game item, game object, and then you just drag and drop on this alien. And if I did it correctly, you should be able now to see that the Samsung IAP script is already added to this monster. And you should be able to see also a few of the things that you can modify. That is like the product details that is empty in this case, the items that you have already consumed on payment, etc., etc. So you already can modify things here, and well, of course, directly on your coding. So now this alien is ready to start managing the in-app purchase on your game. After that, you will have to add the game logic. So, for example, it would make sense that whenever the player is able to reach the alien, that I don't know exactly how to do it because there's a lot of terrain here, but let's suppose that we're able to reach our alien, then perhaps this alien is going to offer, he's a merchant, and he's going to offer you coins, guns, teleports to other levels, etc., etc. And then all that could be managed directly with this little alien because it already includes the script that we have here imported on Unity. Now, finally, show a little bit more of like what kind of things you could do. I'm going to show a couple of lines of code that you can check on the documentation. And I'm not going to get into a lot of detail because that's pretty much part of the game building that you would have to do. But I'm going to focus on three of them. The first one is the that you can see that there are three different modes: production, test, and test failure. The test and test failure, I think it's quite clear what they do is for you to be able to test like the transactions that you're going to have between your game and the store without triggering any actual payment. So when you create your seller's account, you should have a bank account that is linked to that seller, to the account that you're going to use to publish your game. So if we didn't do anything, then every single time that we are sending a transaction, like let's buy the power up, let's buy the coins, then that would trigger an actual transaction. It would be money, $1, etc., etc. But obviously, you need to test things before you let your players to do that. So then you should be able, in your game, in the first version of your game, that it could be a beta version, set the mode of the IAP in mode test or test failure, that you can test both ways. And this is pretty much the line of code that you could use directly on Mono or Visual Studio, and then you're just saying like the set operation mode, and then you pick one of these. It could be production or mode test, like the one that I'm doing here. Now, the other thing is that we already created a list of items in the store that we're going to be able to sell. So power-ups, teleports, subscriptions, whatever it is. And the game may have not any idea. If you do it correctly, I think is that the game shouldn't have any idea of what you are offering. And that is because you could make these modifications and you could have promotions and sales. So like the game shouldn't be hard-coded in a way that that is always the same items. You can ask the store for the items that you are able to sell. And this is how you ask for those items. So you have two versions. The first one that you use for the method get product details, you send an empty string for the first parameter, and that is going to return a full list of all the items that you can sell. And here you're going to have the callback method that you can get that you can call, when the full list is retrieved. So on get product details, you do whatever you need to do inside of your game to display those items, or to show the player so they can pick, for example. But what happens if you don't want to do that? If you just want to get information or details of 3 specific products. So this is the example that we have here. We're getting information about product 1, product 2, and product 3. So you could send a full list of the product names, and you see that it's using the full identifier with the name of your game. So like all these items are unique in the store, and you are going to get the list with the details of these items just for these 3, or for the ones that are able to find. Let's suppose that product 3, somehow you deactivated that one in the store, so it's just going to return the list with the details for product 1 and product 2. Finally, this is how you would pretty much do a transaction. And what you have to do again is to tell the SDK what product you are going to be purchasing, or in this case, well, the player will be purchasing. You can send your own pass-through value. So if you want to do something like to register inside of the store some way, and then this is going to be again the method, the callback method that you're going to call, or well, Unity is going to call whenever the payment was finished. So whenever the Galaxy Store responds like, hey, I was successful registering the purchase of this product, then it sends back a success code, and then Unity is going to be able to execute the whatever on payment method we have here. Okay, like there are a couple other things that you can do there, but again, you can go directly to wrong one, to developer.samsung.com/IAP in-app purchase, and you should be able to get all the documentation with all the details, for example, of the test mode, etc., etc. And even here in the technical documents, you should be able to get the programming guide. So this is kind of like the first stop where you should go if you are testing your game. So it was relatively fast. I was going for like 45 minutes. I guess I went a little bit faster than what I expected. But this is perfect because now I have the chance to stop for a second. And let me go to the next slides. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, the contact. So in case you have issues when you're testing your games, you can go directly to the support email, or you can contact me directly to my professional account, or on Twitter. You can follow me here. Well, Twitter and pretty much all social media, and then you can contact me and say like, hey, I had issues with this code, or I don't know, with the plugin or with something else. So this is the way for you to do it.